All right, Shalom. Shalom. I want to give all praise unto Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, Bashem Mukar. We give double honors to our apostles and elders, which apostles and elders is a great millstone. The open elect on the four corners of the planet Earth, that's pushing this truth without sincerity, honesty, and faith. To the confusion of faces also, in the time that we're living in, we're coming to the great things taking place for Israel. I always like to say that, man, because it's definitely coming to pass. More and more, you're seeing that the men have been set up, is definitely set up by Yahweh and Yahushua, because the words are coming to pass. So I'm just gonna jump into this quick video. As you see the title of the video, U.S. dollar is losing its power. Okay. The words coming to pass. All right, let me mute this. But yeah, man, more and more there's a few things going on in the news that stem this lesson. But I just wanted to play a little bit of this video, and this is they're interviewing this guy on RT, and they're going in about the United States dollar because recently Venezuela just dropped the dollar, man. Okay, these other nations, Russia, China, they're dropping the dollar, so that's going to affect this place, and it's happening. Trump was like the main, he was a key spark, all right, in these things, because the relations in the world is at an all-time low. You know, the news won't tell you that, but the other alternative media, they'll definitely let you know that, hey, man, there's a economical war happening. We're at war. We're not at war where you say, oh, guns, bullets, which is happening around the world, but we're at an economical war, okay? Trade war. You got the situation with China. You got the situation with Russia, the tariffs that's being placed on China. All that is going to start affecting this place, right along with the dollar dropping as the world reserve currency, but buying petroleum, oil. All right. So everything is the place, the stage is being set for this place's destruction. All right. So I'm gonna play this video with this interview, and then Alvarado, I'm gonna go into some scriptures, and Lord willing, this is edifying.
With Venezuela and the dollar. Way to discuss.
And this guy be going in on that economical outlooks, man.
George, what do you think is driving this? First of all, do you get a sense that in Europe and the UK as well, there's a sense of frustration about being tied to the US dollar?
Well, there's nothing so powerful as the power of an idea whose time has come. And the idea of breaking free of the hegemony of the US dollar is now everywhere, even in the most unlikely places. We've discussed before the foreign minister of Germany, once upon a time a client state of the United States, which is now openly searching for an alternative to dollarization in international trade. And this has spread, of course, farther and farther as the number of countries under sanctions and aggression of one kind or another at the hands of the US has literally multiplied. If you think about it, countries that are either sanctioned or threatened with sanctions, why would they take the risk of continuing to rely on the US dollar, which is being used in such a politicized way? So Iran is under sanctions. Why would it trade in dollars, therefore? Why would Russia and China trade with each other or elsewhere in dollars when they are the subject of trade war and sanctions from the United States? And Venezuela is the latest to conclude that such is the level of aggression coming out of Washington, such is the obvious regime change appetite in Washington, that they might as well bite the bullet and buck the dollar.
Considering how the U.S. reacted, though, to, for example, Saddam Hussein when he adopted the euro over the dollar several decades ago, what is...
Let me get this real quick. Let me get this quick precept. This is Psalms 29. This is Psalms 29 and verse... This is Psalms 29 and verse 6. Give me 1 second. This is Psalms 29 in verse 6. And it says, he maketh him, hold on, Proverbs, I like it. This is Proverbs 29 and 6. This is Proverbs 29 and verse 6. And it says, in the transgression of an evil man, there is a snare, but the righteous doth sing and rejoice. So it says what? In the transgressions of an evil man, there is a snare. So the U.S., we know the society is ultra wicked. Okay, so it's definitely an evil society. With the things that it does, most people want to say, "How could you say that?" The fruit bears witness. All right, transgenderism, homosexuality, pedophilia, the list goes on with the wickedness that Babylon conducts on a daily basis. All right. But the main point is there's a snare. So the snare is a trap. So the U.S. is trapping itself and it doesn't realize it because the higher up elites this is all being done by the higher up elites, man, for their own personal goals. But this is to bring down this nation, if they realize it or not. All right. And it says, verse 7, the righteous considereth the cause of the poor, but the wicked regardeth not to know it. Scornful men bring a city into a snare, but wise men turn away wrath. So when you see who's ruling now, and look what's going in. Look at the American foreign relations is at an all-time low. So these things are taking place because it's biblical prophecies that's happening, man. Just like we were taken down as a nation and put in slavery for through the words Yahweh Shemi Shai promised us, the same thing is happening to Esau in this society. This place has a promise. The Lord said it's going to destroy it off the face of the earth, man. So it's gonna come to pass. And he says he's going to put plagues on this place, just like he plagued ancient Egypt. All these things that's taking place is hand in hand with the scriptures. That's how you know the Bible is real, man. All right.
Venezuela risking with this decision?
Well, of course, there's a big risk in it, but the level of enmity coming from Washington towards Venezuela has now reached the point of no return. So I think the conclusion is we'd be better hung for a sheep than a lamb, as we say here. The people in Venezuela know that they are on the end of yet another U.S. regime change operation. So they might as well stand up, do the principled thing, and like the Iraqi leaders and the Libyan, by the way, which also sought to break away from the dollar, they risk, of course, being overthrown. But it's not as if that risk disappears if they don't take this step. I was actually in Baghdad. I was talking with members of the former leadership of Iraq when this move was being discussed. I did point out to them at the time that the US would regard it as a red line. But times have changed, and the number of US opponents, stroke enemies, has multiplied.
This is a quick precept. This is Jeremiah 50 in verse 24. I've laid a snare for thee, I've laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast strived against the Lord. And the main way they striving against the Lord is by going against the law, statutes, and commandments that have been ordained in these scriptures. So Esau is striving against the Most High, and then touching his people, touching the apple of his eye. So these are the things that's leading to the demise of this place, man. But the Most High set this trap. He set the economical boom or the economical downfall. It's all under the will of Yahweh Shemi Shai. And he says overthrow, right? He said that Babylon just overthrows other nations, right? Let me see if I can't get this. Let me play this real quick. Let me get a preset.
In that time. For a start, Russia, at the time that Iraq was under attack from the US, was more or less in an interregnum. Russia is now in the Axis full time. And so the number of countries and the importance of the countries in the crosshairs of United States hegemony.
See? So he's pretty much saying that the U.S. is going around bullying. If you don't get down with their so-called with their regime, and you don't go down with what they want you to do, that they gonna pretty much come get you with the military, man. All right, this is the book of Jeremiah 50. This is Jeremiah 50 and verse 23. And it says, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? So this is the hammer that's going throughout the whole planet Earth and that pushing that what you call that they're pushing their agenda on these other nations, and it's starting to come out, man. All right. So let me finish playing this, and then I'm gonna get into
has
the precepts.
multiplied, and that paradoxically, or if you like, in a contradictory way, has strengthened the hands of those who are on the end of American aggression. There's more of them. They're more important than they were before.
And a lot of these countries, for example, Iran and Venezuela, produce oil, and the dollar is currently the standard currency used to trade that commodity, as well as, for example, gold. But do you think that could change? And if so, what would replace it?
Well,
they're going to lean into that chip. It's going to be digital currency. All right. You buy or sell. And oil is the main commodity that's traded amongst these nations. So if they implement that chip, that virtual currency, it'll be easier for all of them to just trade back and forth digitally. So the money's there's not 100 billion being transferred back and forth. It's being transferred digitally. So that's how they're going to switch from that. It's going to be a digital cryptocurrency, man, which is that market of beast, where you're going to have the chip is going to be the new currency to buy, sell, and trade, man. Okay, that's what they're leading up to, man. That's how you know these elites, they're gearing it up. They're causing it. Ordo ab chaos, man. But through the main causer of it is Yahweh Shem Shai that's forcing them to put it in their mind to do it. All right, this video's done. I'm gonna post a link if you guys want to watch it. It's a good one, and I'm gonna play a little bit of this to show you what happens when that petrodollar slows down as the world's currency.
Debt rises because if the U.S. government spends more money than the U.S. government, and then with economic stimulus packages, it all adds up. The debt rises because if the U.S. government spends more money than it collects in taxes, then it needs to make up the shortfall by selling U.S. Treasury bonds to investors. These investors are typically other countries. So what's defaulting all about? When a country defaults on its debt, it's called a sovereign default. If the U.S. were to default, it would essentially stop paying the money it owed to the investors of the U.S. Treasury bonds. There's a lot of speculation online about what would happen if the U.S. stopped making these payments, and though many of the major media outlets have run features exploring this question, no one really knows exactly what would take place. The general consensus is that the world markets would plunge and global interest rates would be considerably hitched up. And of course, the impact would be felt by the U.S. creditors, those other countries who are owed the money. Let's take a look at 5 potential knock-on effects that would occur as a result of the U.S. defaulting on its debt. Depression and unemployment. The Treasury and Federal Reserve would make their way through banks and eventually blow a hole through the Main Street economy. The unemployment rate would rise and huge amounts of uncertainty would take center stage. The stock market would suffer, with stock prices falling, as investors fled to other countries for safer stock or gold investments.
So these things, man, it's going to cause this economical downfall, man, because they have for them to implement their plans, they got to have that chaos. All right, and a financial crisis of this magnitude would cause that. Okay. All right, so let me go into these precepts. And I'm gonna close on out. I just wanted to give this news update, and show brothers that we at that time, man. We're getting close. The stage is set. War is set. The downfall is set. The economical change is set. It's all just ready to be went through, man. To go through. Let me get these precepts. This is Jeremiah 51. This is Jeremiah 51 and 7. Jeremiah 51:7 says, Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that have made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunk of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And that wine is that philosophy and the things that they push to these other nations, man. All right, the other nations have co-signed with Babylon, and in what's they're definitely in cahoots with Babylon when it comes to that dollar, man. All right, because these other nations now are starting because you see that they're borrowing from these other nations. All right, they're pushing. They're saying, okay, we'll sell you these bonds and we'll pay you back the interest back on them. But they're not. They're gonna if they default, they're not gonna be able to pay them bonds back anymore. So it's all leading up to that Third World War where these other nations they're going to fire missiles on this place too. It says Babylon is sudden fallen and destroyed. How for her take bombs for her pain? If so, she may be healed. All right, and then you ain't gonna be able to heal this place because it's got a mortal wound, man, a mortal wound. This is the book of Psalms 37 and 21. Psalms 37 and 21. Psalms 37 and 21, and it says, the wicked borroweth and payeth not again. And you see it. That's exactly what they just broke down in this little video. That the U.S. is borrowing from these other nations, and they're not able to pay it back. All right? They're not able to pay it back that money. If I can see where they said it at.
These investors are typically other countries.
See? Right
so
there.
What?
Spiritual. I don't want to flag it, but as you can see that they're borrowing from these other nations. That's another way to show you this place is wicked, man. And it says, read it again. Psalms 37 and 21, the wicked borroweth and payeth not again, but the righteous showeth mercy and giveth. For such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth, and they that be cursed of him shall be cut off. And Esau's getting ready to be cut off. Because these are the people of the Lord's curse, man. All right. The Most High has placed that mark upon them, which goes back to Cain. But that mark is placed on them, man, and they're going to be cut off. And who's going to inherit the earth? Is the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in rulership. All right. The elect first, and then the whole nation. All right. It says the steps of a good man is ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. And it says, though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hands. And that's the same thing with us. We fell, but the Most High is still upholding us, man. He's still with us, and he's even more with us now, with this truth coming out. Like, that's it on that. Let me go ahead and get a couple of these precepts, and we'll get up out of here, man. It's Revelations 18 and 3. It says, for all nations have drunk of her wine and the wrath of her fornication. The kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacy. And that oil, man, Saudi Arabia is waxing rich through that oil. Is waxing rich, man, because what? America is a consuming country. It consumes and consumes and doesn't make that much. So these other nations have gotten rich off of America. All right, with that worldwide reserve currency, they've been trading back and forth, which is put America on that type of level to be able to print their money and pretty much just live on debt. Okay, but once that the other nations cut off that buying of the debt, then America's debt is going to fall upon its own lap. Because there's not going to be any more trust in it, because the Lord is the one that's pushing this agenda so we can go to war, man. Habakkuk 2 and 6. Habakkuk 2 and verse 6. Now this thing wants to act up. Habakkuk 2 and verse 6, and it says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, saying, woe unto him that increases that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And that's that debt. That debt is being built up, been built, and it's almost about to pop, man. It's a financial bubble that's getting ready to pop. Let me get this last precept. This is Isaiah 10 and 13. Isaiah 10 and 13, it says, For he saith, by the strength of my hand I have done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent, and have removed the bounds of the people, and have robbed their treasures, and have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. And Esau's robbing. He's going through the planet Earth and pushing his agenda. That's why I read in Jeremiah 51 and 23. He's pushing this agenda out there, and he's bullying the world, man. And he's gathered up the riches of the other nations. And that worldwide reserve currency, that's their stamp on the whole thing. That you got to use our money to trade in oil. Okay? So I just wanted to bring this out. And Abaratazal, you brothers, check that out and look into it and then pay attention to it, because it's financial crisis. That's why you got to watch everything in this truth, man. Okay, you got to watch everything and monitor everything, because these are the signs of the coming of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man, and it's coming soon. So with that, I want to give all praise unto Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Bashim Karkadash, and I hope this is edifying. Until the next time, y'all can just keep faith and hold it down, man. We're almost home, man. Shalom, shalom.